Hey sports fans, we're back, and today we're here to talk about one of the best defensive players of his generation, a game breaker at not one but two positions, and that player is former Raider and current Chicago Bears All-Pro, Khalil Mack. When you're considered great at two positions, it goes without saying that you probably train like a maniac and have a ridiculous work ethic, which Khalil definitely does, and today we're going to take a look at this dude's insane exercise and diet to see just how this defensive wrecking ball gets down. But before we get into all that good stuff, do me a favor if you haven't already and subscribe to this channel. All done? Alright, let's rock. What does it take to train like a defensive player of the year, three-time first-team All-Pro, and one of Pro Football's highest-graded players over the last half-decade? If you're Khalil Mack, a whole lot. Mack, a bona fide outside linebacker who has catapulted himself into the highest tier of players in the league on either side of the ball, could pretty much do it all and is one of the marvels of the sport. One could say, even though Mack has been a three-time All-Pro, that he is even underrated. Mack could cover tight ends, running backs out of the backfield, and is one of the best at diagnosing the play. The versatile Mack could also come off the edge like one of the best defensive ends in the game, with either brute force or sheer speed. But how does this defensive marvel out of Buffalo get to be this good? Well, if you ask Mack, it's mental as much as it is physical, and he aims to be the best in both. If you ask Khalil Mack, he claims to spend countless hours going over game film and analyzing players and schemes, so by the time he's lined up from his opponent, he understands their tendencies and nuances of each quarterback, offensive lineman, or any other player he faces. Mack's mental game is top-notch, and before he dominates you in the fall and winter, he's already spent the spring and summer knowing your every tendency. Mack also studies other great linebackers like Lawrence Taylor, Derek Thomas, and Derek Brooks to see what made them great and implement it into his game. He also uses the tape from current players like Von Miller to help sharpen his game, as he claims that to be great, you gotta know the greats, and that's something Mack wants other linebackers aspiring to be elite to remember. The first thing to learn about Khalil Mack's training is that his conditioning is one of the top focuses. Mack may play outside linebacker, but he's much more than a traditional speed rusher or someone who could drop into coverage. Mack is someone who excels at all the facets of his game and is counted on to make all-pro worthy plays, so the Chicago Bears' aggressive play calling fires on all cylinders and remains one of the more ferocious defenses in the league. While the Bears may not be the storied franchise of old, it's currently their offense struggling to keep up with their defense, which has been the case for most of Mack's tenure since coming over from the Raiders a few years back. Before Mack gets into his hellish conditioning, he does about 15 minutes of stretching to make sure he doesn't tweak anything. Mack is old school with his conditioning, and in the same vein as a Jerry Rice or a Walter Payton, Mack likes to run hills until his legs are jello. And by run, we mean sprints and tempo runs, with Mack giving the hills his all. The uphill sprints are said to help with his explosion, which Mack has a ton of. With a vertical over 40 inches, the 250-pound, solidly built linebacker is a powder keg off the line of scrimmage and when blowing up plays in the backfield. Yes, the running backs fear Mack too, but not as much as the signal callers, who Mack pressures as high as anyone in the league. Matter of fact, over the last 7 seasons, Mack is top 3 in the league in quarterback pressures, meaning whether he gets the sack or not, he's disrupting the play. Whether it's Mack whipping around an offensive lineman, bull rushing, or using one of his many moves in his arsenal to get past them, as we've said, Mack is a menace on the field in every phase. To give you an idea of just how much of a conditioning freak Mack is, he once did a 12-minute stationary bike ride during an interview because he didn't want to miss a session. One of the main reasons Mack's conditioning is extremely important to him is because he likes to be a problem for the offense in every play, and if you watch Khalil, you know he has a high snap count and seldom comes out of games, so it appears that conditioning is paying off. When it comes to Mack's favorite workouts, it's several kettlebell exercises he switches up each week, and his other go-to, pushing the sled. Mack does several kettlebell variations to work his chest, back, shoulders, biceps, and triceps, and the All-Pro opts for heavy weights when it comes to most of these exercises and claims he prefers kettlebells because he prefers their versatility over bar or a dumbbell, depending on his workout. When it comes to Mack's sled, the linebacker is a big fan of the exercise because he claims the pushing motion combined with the heavy weights on the sled are the same as pushing a 325-pound offensive lineman out of the way en route to sacking a quarterback and stopping a running back close to the line of scrimmage. Khalil also likes to do weighted push-ups and sit-ups and also opts to go heavy in that department. The 6-time Pro Bowler can bench over 450 pounds, which shouldn't shock too many, after he put up 23 reps of 225 at the scouting combine, so it's not that the dude can't bench or doesn't bench, but it's just not his favorite. And as Mack points out, he likes to switch up how he works with muscles as much as he can, and he doesn't use the bench press nearly as much as he did during the earlier phase of his career, but it still gets its usage. When it comes to Mack's lower body, he's a huge fan of squats and is said to be able to squat a small village in the weight room, which is why the linebacker claims he could generate so much force when it comes to his ridiculous vertical, or the shuttle drills he excelled at during the combine. Mack didn't say his max when it comes to his squatting, but is said to work out with close to 600 pounds. So when you see Mack toss aside grown men or blow past them, just know it's a combination of his tremendous upper body and lower body strength that makes Khalil a Mack truck out there on the gridiron. On the field, Khalil Mack faces a steady diet of double teams, as you know if you've ever watched the stud play. But what does he eat off the field? The answer is just about anything he could get his hands on. Mack isn't necessarily a clean eater, but not necessarily a horrible one either. The humble superstar doesn't like to talk about himself much and keeps his life extremely private, but we were able to dig out a little bit about his diet. For breakfast, that's usually a large helping of oatmeal or grits with bacon and avocado toast. Lunch could be a variety of options, but Mack usually goes with a lean protein, a shake, or some sort of carbs. Dinners for Mack are usually steak or chicken breasts, potatoes, with a large serving of vegetables. Mack likes to eat cheat meals quite often, and his favorite go-to are Rice Krispie treats, which Mack has been a fan of since he was a kid. He grew up on Rice Krispie cereal and Rice Krispie treats, and said that part of him will never change. I guess when you like to condition the way Khalil does, you can run off some of that fuel, or maybe that's why he does so much conditioning. Alright, sports fans, that does it for our time on Khalil Mack and his insane exercise and diet routine. Let us know what you thought about the 3-time All-Pro regimen by dropping a comment, and as always, if you aren't already subscribed to this channel, do me a favor and click that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on this channel and more videos just like this when they drop. Until next time, sports fans.